That show up on camera? That's no. That's when you know you've been working hard. Is when you fog up your glasses indoors. Huh. But yeah, you're like, why would his glasses be fogged up and he would be out of breath? Maybe it has something to do with this thing he's sitting on. Maybe the fact that he can't walk and he drug a recliner about 30 feet all the way from the furthest point in the living room to the furthest point back in the bedroom. The window with the cardboard is right here. Maybe that's why his glasses are all fogged up and he looks all shiny and shit. I thought it was going to be easier than that because it's a skinny chair, but the handle on the back just wouldn't clear. So I tried to force it. I didn't break the chair, but I tried to force it, thinking that, oh, it's just, because it looked like the cushions on the side of the chair was getting squeezed in the doorway, but that wasn't the issue. It was the handle hanging up on the inside edge of the door. So like, oh, I hope I didn't break it. I just tore some of the fabric off it using my upper body strength. But then what that means, what you have to do is, you probably know this already, is you have to recline and tilt the chair back, lay the chair back on its side, angle it through the doorway, and it's like dragging a dead body. Then you can't like walk it around or straight drag it. It's like, and then I had to drag it into a position where I could set it. It was a whole big thing, and my head don't feel too good. But yeah, I figured like, well, that scooter's out of here. This place is open. I might as well sit here. I smell right now. Whew, I smell like somebody that needs 10 showers. But yeah, I think my heart's back under 120. I'm hoping. That's the fun of like having heart problems, is like just dragging a chair is exciting, man. Lifting weights is exciting. Everything's all exciting because anything might kill you. It's like the same thing with walking. It's like walking's not very exciting for most people unless there's stuff going around them. But it's kind of exciting for me to walk because I don't know if I'm going to be hurting myself hitting the pavement or bleeding at any moment. So yeah, I don't need a lot of extraneous nonsense in my life. I've been feeling like a weird pulse, like right up here in my head, and I'm having like random. I was having random anxious thoughts earlier while I was just laying there. I'm like, why do I feel like a pulse? And it's like it doesn't feel like it's in rhythm with my other pulse. And I'm thinking like a brain aneurysms or some shit like that. It's just like it's an anxiety thing. But okay, the last video I made, I decided I was depressed and I needed to do some shit. Here's what I did. I went to sleep. I got sleepy like right after I made that, and I was like, man, fuck it, I'm going to sleep. But I've had two honest to God anxiety attacks in like the last 4 days. And then I got this weird thing going on with my head. Like you feel like a vein pulsing like right there in my head. And I'm sure it's nothing. But yeah, I just yeah, I just seen too much and been in too many hospitals. It brings too many things to mind. But anyway, now I have a chair in here. And though I hurt like a bastard right now from fighting this fucking thing, uh, it feels pretty good. What happens if I tilt? Like I didn't want to take down my. Well, I can't move my cardboard because it's wedged underneath something at the top, and it doesn't have the handlebar to the scooter propping it up anymore. And I'm afraid it will fall on me. So I guess I won't experiment with that. I'll just leave it alone. Oh man, but yeah, whew, still still dealing with the depression. But like I said, I went to sleep. I was like, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. Then my eyes started watering. I just got sleepy. And then I went to sleep and I woke up sometime in the afternoon. And now my schedule is all screwy. Um, but I was like, it took me the rest of the day after I said that I would do something. But the first thing I did was eat a burrito and then lifted weights. And I was like, okay, I lifted weights. And while I was lifting weights, I had to move this chair out of the way. So I'm moving this chair and it's got a bunch of papers. I'm like, oh, here's those hidden letters that I've been looking for that I can't find. So I forget that sitting in this chair makes my hands look huge. And I'm like doing the Bill Clinton gestures. They actually teach public speakers that to hold your hands out like this with the open palm is a sign of friendliness and a gesture of peacefulness and a welcoming gesture. Like, it's like how you start a hug and stuff. But I just do it because I do it. But it looks like it's like I'm fucking with you or something, like trying to get a 3D effect. Like the spear coming out of the screen in one of the Friday the 13th for no apparent reason. Anyways, I don't even know what the hell I was talking about. I was talking about finding those letters, and I got weird news in one of the letters. It's like, yeah, my Medicaid's approved, so I don't have to make no phone call and sit on hold for an hour. So the Medicaid, and my, I think it's My Care Source Ohio, some clunky name like that is the name of my combined insurance. It's just everything's going to go on normal there, but they decided to raise my food stamps from $16 to $178. I had no idea of this, but they did it like retroactively. Back in March, it said the letters dated April 16th, but it says starting March 1st. So they were already doing it. They just never told me about it. So I'm set. I'm set. I just wasted like $100 sending the aid worker to the grocery store, spent money when I got like a food. I don't know. They call it a SNAP program here. I don't know what they call it in your state, but you know what it is. It's just a card with food benefits on it. Look like a credit card. It has a number on it and everything. And you see, if you have the good fortune to have a job, not be a poor person, or the bad fortune, whichever way you want to look at it, to have to work for a living. You probably seen people swiping them in line in front of you, and then you punch in your little code. So, um, so I found out that my card had $376 on it because I'm gonna try some math. Because 2 times 178 equals 356 plus 16 comes out to 372. I don't know what I said. If I said the right number or not, but yeah, must be feeling cocky if I'm gonna try to do math publicly, because that's never a pretty sight. But anyways, um, the problem is I don't have no money launderer. Um, so I don't want to, you know what I'm talking about. All you street people out there, you definitely know what I'm talking about. But it's like they used to have a rule that you'd have to spend some of your new benefits each month, or they just would wipe them all out. Say you got $200 and you spent none of it, $200 is wiped off the card. You only got to spend like $2 out of the $200, but you got to spend something out of it. So I guess I'll do that tomorrow to make sure the 376 doesn't get wiped out. But I haven't looked at any apartments right now. I have a splitting headache. I don't know why. Like I got an adrenaline rush and stuff from yeah, dragging this chair in here and fighting with it. And it's always nice to be successful at something. It's always good. But yeah, I'm still in a depression. It's just like I said, man, you gotta fight against it. The only way you can do that is by moving. It's not by sitting there watching YouTube videos. Or I actually chain watched the whole third season of Ozark, because I had to go back and watch the first 2 seasons of Ozark, because they take too long to release seasons. So I don't know what the hell. You might remember some of the plot line, but you're not going to pick up all the nuances. If like they did that with Game of Thrones, like they take a year and year plus to release the second season, and then you have to go back and watch at least a couple of episodes of the previous season. Doesn't matter if it's the second season or whatever season. It's just when they take so long. I mean, you're watching other stuff. You're not gonna, unless you got like a really good memory or like really into the show and like discussing it on online forums and stuff. Like, what do you think of Daenerys' left titty or whatever? Because she's always naked in the damn Game of Thrones show. Um, are they the same size, or is there a little asymmetry going there? You know, it's like if you're unless you're into the show on that level, you're not going to remember stuff after a year. You're not going to remember the details of a show. I'm not talking about like the main characters. I'm talking about like the plot lines and the subtleties and stuff. So you have to go back. I just went ahead and I watched the whole first two seasons of the Ozark show, and then watched literally the whole third season in a row while being depressed, laying there playing Free Cell on the computer, on one computer, and watching the show on the other computer, laying in bed. Spent a whole day doing that. It's not a good way to spend a day. And I haven't checked my messages on my phone, but nobody texted me or called me. But I had my phones off because after I found that out in the middle of my workout that I got like money that I didn't even know I had. Um, I was like, well, that was a little pick me up, but I'm like, I got no way to launder it, so you know, since that's what that show Ozark's about is money launderers. It's like a version of Breaking Bad where a good guy who's like borderline turn he breaks bad, except for he doesn't go around being a drug kingpin and wearing cool hats and calling himself Heisenberg. He just goes around laundering money and keeps his regular name. And he goes from some big city, I forget which, to the Ozarks. Anyways, uh, so afterwards, like while I'm working out, I was thinking I had to call my brother, because like I got some good news. I don't know how long. Another thing is like I don't know how long this is going to continue. If this is just like a COVID thing or not, because I called like when to expect my next benefits, and it said expect $16, but they might not have updated it on the system yet or not. Usually when they raise and lower like your food benefits, they send letters in the mail warning you about when about any changes, like the one that I couldn't find that informed me of a good change. So I expect probably on May 5th to get another $178. But anyways, I called. I was gonna call my brother, and he had called me while I was lifting weights, because like I said, man, his pain tolerance is like crazy, and he went fishing. I didn't know it was that cold, but he went fishing, and it was raining all day yesterday, and it was 41 degrees when they got there. So he's fishing in the absolute. You'd rather fish in the snow, just trust me. You'd rather fish in the snow than fish in rain, anywhere from any kind of rain up to about 55 degrees. It's just rain gets you, man, in a way that snow don't. It's just the way it is. And if you got wind and rain, you know that is a recipe for misery. But anyway, so he's fishing out there in the rain and 41-degree weather when they got there. And he said, I was like, was there anybody there? And he's like, are you crazy? He's like, there ain't nobody out there as crazy as us. He said somebody showed up, like one other group of people showed up later in the day, and that was after the weather cleared up and it stopped raining. But that was in the Sandusky River, and they're fishing for walleye. It's a little early. What happens is like for some reason fish get turned on by running water, so uh, they like to get it on and do nasty things to each other in running water. I mean, there's lots of fish that spawn in still water, but they have the opportunity. They want to throw in a little added excitement, and fishing, and I don't know why that is, spawn and current, but all these fish come from Lake Erie, and they go into the Sandusky River. That's why I was with my friend that one time fishing in the Sandusky River, and between us, we didn't count because once you catch that many fish, you don't count. But I guesstimated at 150 conservatively we caught between the two of us. We caught so many fish. We were like the little old woman in the chute. We didn't know what to do with all of them. We filled up a cooler. We filled up a bucket. We filled up this weird transport thing that he had with like stuffing fish in the zippers of this thing. I don't even know how to describe it, a luggage type of thing. And then he made a corral in the water out of stones. And then we started throwing fish in this little corral that he made in the water, but they all escaped out of there. Even with half of our fish escaping, I think the number was 76 that we brought home. So that's why I estimated it at 150. But there's really no way to know. You're catching fish that fast. You're not counting. But anyways, so many fish are in there because the Sandusky River runs off of this huge Lake Erie, and all these fish at a certain time of year, if the weather conditions are right, they all go in there to spawn. And yeah, he caught one walleye that was like 5 pounds, so he was pretty jazzed about it. And he was talking about his fishing trip and stuff. And he wanted somebody that he's in a real good mood, which I always enjoy that since you know he's had a very he's had my life without the positive attitude, except without the severe illness and the positive attitude. He's had my life, and he's suffered from what I call clinical depression. Uh, so it's always good to hear him in a good mood. But that kind of I was going to do some other stuff, but we had a long conversation into the deep hours of the night, and about just fun topics because he doesn't like to get too serious about shit. And I learned some more disturbing things about certain situations that I'm sworn to secrecy over. But other than that, it was a pleasant conversation. So I didn't go to sleep until like 4 in the morning. I got sleepy or something like that. I was like, well, this is the time I should be getting up to take a walk. And then I woke up this morning or it was morning for me, but I don't know what time it was because I woke up and I don't know if it's being old or whatever, but I always wake up with sewer mouth. And got a piece of gum and started chewing on peppermint gum and went down the wrong pipe, and I just coughed and coughed and coughed like I had emphysema. And maybe that's why I have a headache. But I was like, man, I'll send him to get some mints or some lozenges or something. I don't know what. But gum is too dangerous. I also fell asleep with gum in my mouth that one day, and this type of gum, little tiny pieces of it come off the main gum, and I swallowed it. I got some of it in my air passage because I fell asleep with gum in my mouth. So yeah, it's like yeah, I'm sure all that was very fascinating. But that's just how I started my day. And then I was like, well, I'm just laying here drinking my coffee. What time is it now? I had the idea to drag this chair in here last night. It's 6:30 at night. I haven't eaten anything yet today, so that's what I'll do next. But anyways, so that's the way you fight your way out of depression is by getting something accomplished, even as something as seemingly mundane as moving a chair into another room or lifting some weights. And that's the way you have to do it. The hard part is moving when you're depressed. That's why I said don't think. I should have said don't think, don't talk, move. But I pretty much said don't talk when the video is only 13 minutes long and it's me. And I am a motor mouth by nature. And I, now I don't like the sound of my voice that much anymore. I still like the formation of words, sentence, phrases, and quips, and other such verbal devices. I still enjoy that stuff. Anyways, I guess I'll leave it at that. And then you can see that I'm in a better mood, and you'll probably start seeing me like this, like in a chair if you see me. I didn't bother to put a shirt on because I had just freshly moved this chair, but I was like, I can find a shirt or something. And, that way you won't have to look at, yeah, those things. I don't even want to refer to them. You know what I'm talking about. I've been told I have weird ones, so, this is like more savory to people. Like I'm sitting up and I'm not laying in bed like a corpse. I mean, I'm still the same guy. And I can even swing the microphone arm maybe all the way over here and not use the computer mic, but I'm sure it doesn't make any difference. The computer mic actually makes me louder, but that is a Blue Yeti high dollar mic, so it's supposed to make me sound smoother. And I got it basically because I was going to do books in bed and I need the microphone right here, you know. And I can't set the computer on my chest while I'm doing a book. I can't like bring the computer up to the side of my face and talk into it. It's like that's how I made the one example of why I bought that microphone. Was it the Eskimo Hermit? I think that's what it's called, but Iceberg Hermit. Okay, he wasn't Eskimo, he was a white dude. Eskimos. If Eskimo wrote a book, I'd read it, but I don't think they're in the writing. They're in the literature all that much. Um, so it was a white guy that wrote it, and it's called the Iceberg Hermit. But I made that with a computer mic, and I had like volume issues to the point where like I had level issues, and that I don't know how to like do post processing, even though I downloaded a program called Audacity. It was way too complicated to use as far as post processing, which I guess is pretty important if you want to make something sound gorgeous audio wise. But I don't like to take the time to learn all that stuff. If I'm going to learn, it's going to be about something more important than how to make me sound or look pretty. I suppose I could study a course on lighting that would make me look better, or even like make me lit properly, or like that stuff. I'm not wasting my time with that. If I'm going to waste my time learning something, it's going to be about the human beings, psychology, um, religion, how it affects people, music, stuff that I'm actually interested in that I think is important. So I think that music is the highest form of art. And if you think about it, I don't see how you can argue with me about it. Because have you ever read a book 1,000 times and enjoyed it the 1,000th time? Probably not. But I bet you've heard songs 1,000 times and you still can get a bang out of them. So that's why uh, I think Carlos Santana said music is the language of the soul. And also, that's why like Black Sabbath can go perform in Japan and kill, and they don't have a clue what they're saying. They just know that that shit is banging. Or like, actually, there's a famous Black Sabbath video of them in Paris. It's like I wonder how many of them understand it. The guy's saying, "Generals gathered in the masses, doo doo, just like witches at black masses." All they're hearing is gibberish, 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 gibberish. I think me and Ozzy have a different vocal range. I wouldn't know how to go about singing that. Generals gathered at the mouse. It's really fucking loud, man. But yeah, I don't want all my neighbors jumping upstairs and shit. Um, I don't know why, but I can't get over that programming of my childhood of being respectful and polite, even to people that don't deserve it. But yeah, I'd have to start way down low to go do 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 do. Even they even attempt to hit, I don't know. My ears aren't very good, and it's not an octave jump, but it's a high jump in pitch. for me to even make that sound vaguely musical. That's another thing. Like, I'm not going to bother learning that either. There's no point to it. Yeah, vocal lessons. No point to that. I don't have the ears for that. But anyways, I think I'm recovered. I think I might rest. I've been rewatching a very good show on Netflix that I enjoy the hell out of called The Good Place. It starts out slow, and now that I know the twist to it, it's not quite. It's nothing's not quite going to be as good the second time around, but it's still very funny. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe drink some water and watch an episode of that, and get some food in my belly. I did make an egg last night, and I made an omelet, and I cooked. I can't admit to cleaning out the sink because I didn't do that. But it's like my brother kept me on the phone a long time, and I had actually like, man, I can barely hear you over my stomach, dude. I'm starving, so I gotta go. And yeah, so I did do that part of it. So I like to do what I said I was gonna do, or tried to. That's one of the good things about making these videos is if I say something on here, I like to at least attempt to do it. And I don't always succeed. It doesn't always work out, but I have a better batting average if I say that I'm going to do something on here where other people can see it. I guess it means that's a sad fucking statement, but it must be true that I have an easier time lying to myself than I have lying to other people. Telling myself I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, never getting around to it. But then if I say I'm going to do something on here, it raises my batting average from 200 to 320. You know, it does. It's a good thing for me. So, anyways, that's all I got for you because I'm very hungry, and yeah, I'm gonna have to rest after fighting this chair, which isn't all that heavy, but still I can't walk, so it's a pretty good trick getting it in here and setting it up, and I may feel it tomorrow for all I know, but the upper body strength I got the to manage it, but lifting things. I can lift it up and put it down. Lift it up and get it in here. So that involves like jockeying, dragging, um, tricky spatial relation maneuvers. Like actually had to like recline, turn it on side first, recline it, and then angle it through like a snake through the doorway, and then set it up in here and get it back set up. I had a hard time. I thought I broke the recliner. I had a hard time putting the footstool down without actually being sitting in it. I couldn't sit in it because I couldn't get around it because the bedroom's so damn small, as you probably know. So, yeah, this is good though. This means I can sit up in here. Unfortunately, there's probably not going to be enough room to play guitar in here, but that's something else. Like if I can get comfortable and figure out, I'm sure I probably tried it before and didn't work because the guitar would be up too high. Yeah, I would have to. Probably wouldn't work, but it's worth thinking about. I could sit in my room and practice guitar in this chair and talk to you in this chair, and you know, I don't have anything against laying around all the time, but it's nice to have the option, and it probably is a better presentation. I even have like a white background. I had to like try to close this somehow, and I got it mostly closed, but there's just a bunch of junk that was falling out of the closet. And as you can see, it folds out. I'm like, well, I gotta like. There's this heater that this woman Bootsy conned me into buying. That's one of them dangerous electric heaters that just needs throwing out, but that kept falling out of the closet, and I had to like wedge that in there and wedge a bunch of crap just to get it to shut that much. And I could probably even like push it back a little. I wasn't sure how many inches I would need. I don't think I need full recline in this thing. So, whoops. What was I talking about? Nobody wants to see those. I hope. Or, oh no, I should have put my glasses on. Yeah, that's something I will never ever get used to. Is you know, I suppose at some point I'll break down and start wearing partial plates, and if my teeth keep getting worse, dentures. But I can't get used to that space right there. Losing them two teeth, like the way things worked out, I would have probably plunked down the 2 grand to save those two teeth because those were the savable ones. The ones that were on the side of the four they took out weren't savable, but those two teeth would make a big difference in the way I talk and just the general feeling of it. Because it feels weird. I'm always hitting it with the edge of my tongue, and also there's like a sharp edge on this tooth here that needs like sanded down or something. They can do that. I don't know if it's advisable, but I'm not really thinking about going to the dentist. I read up on the state of Ohio, and I didn't do it today though. Today was the big press conference announcing the changes that are going to occur in Ohio when the quarantine is lifted on May 1st. But I think it's just they're just going to be opening up certain businesses because everybody's like, on unemployment in the state and feeling the pinch and not being working, man. Having spinal tumors and shit in uh, my teenage years. Uh, Employment is like half of what you make, right? So, unless they're following there's some kind of rule where they live where you got to pay 2.5 times your income to live there, I'm sure that's affected a lot of people adversely as far as just their daily life, you know. And people want to get back to work also because if you don't work, you'd have to be at peace with yourself because, uh, it's a large part of people's identities. And also, people are happier when they're working and they have a routine. Like, even my real estate agent guy said he was going through a bit of a depression. And I'm like, why are you going through a bit of a depression? And he started an explanation that seemed kind of long to me. And I was like, oh, your routine's been disrupted. And he goes, yeah, because routine disruption is not easy for people unless you have no routine like me. My routine, I have one routine that I adhere to, and that is to periodically uh, and vaingloriously speak on here and to drink coffee and whatever constitutes the morning for me. That's about it. I don't really even have a set routine as far as walking, uh, anything. You know, I don't have any routines, but a lot of people they can't handle that because what I got is a very valuable thing called peace of mind. I should take off my glasses. That LED lights reflecting off it. What I got is something very valuable called peace of mind and being able to live with myself and to live with my past, which I can mostly do. There's things that I would like to change about it, my past, and things that I'm embarrassed about that I did in my past. But for the most part, I'm at peace with it, and it's one of the benefits. Like what I always say: be good for goodness sake. It's a better way to be, and either that or be a sociopath. It's up to you. Where you don't have to worry about it. If you're sociopathic, you don't have to worry about stuff like that. Like empathy and worrying about other people and being a good person. And it's like, that's one way to go. But the other way to go, if you are burned with a conscience, is to be a good person, and that way you get a better night's sleep. You don't have to look around to see if there's anybody wanting to get revenge on you for any of the evil shit you did. Uh, Mr. Johnson's not behind you, metaphorically speaking, um, and you're not thinking about him because you fucked Mrs. Johnson, and you can just sort of like chill and like just be fine with yourself the way you are. That's why I never understood like being a human being in and of itself is so difficult. I never understood why that wasn't enough, But then that's one one of the main things that excited me about when I found out that I could write fairly well. I was like, I can tell people I'm a writer. Now I'm not just a human being, because it just I thought that was enough. That like that's a good enough accomplishment, being a decent human being, but it's not. You, I would get dismissed. You know, you don't have a job. What do you know about living? What do you know about life? You know, it's like you tell some they want to know, you know, how you get by in the world. You're on disability, and then you can even some people even take it so far, like, oh, so you're the reason why people are taking money out of my pocket. All right, well, they're resentful of you on, but mostly they're just dismissive, like you're a non-entity, and like I don't know. I think being a decent human being is a hard enough accomplishment that if you can manage to do that, and if you can manage to actually be helpful to people and nice to people and be a good person and not return evil with evil, you know, and violence with violence, and that that's a better accomplishment than working in a goddamn mill or a plastics factory or something like that. But people seem to take you more seriously if you work for a living or if you've gone to school. They don't seem to weigh the merits of things that you say unless you have some sort of bona fides that lend weight to you. Well, I went to such and such university. You know, that's in the debate game we call that ad hominem, where you're looking at the man and not the words. In other words, like a bum on the street can be right, and an academic in Harvard can be wrong about something. I would be the bum on the street in this metaphor. So, but they also do that with jobs. It's like, yeah, you're gonna tell me about life. Your life sucks. What do you know about life? I can tell you about suffering. I can tell you about how to deal with suffering. I can tell you about how to um, be in a good mood, and when you have absolutely no right at all to be in a good mood. I can't teach you these things, but I can tell you about them. I can tell you how I arrived at them. I think they're valuable things. Um, but anyways, I didn't mean for that to get all philosophical and weird and oddly egomaniacal. But hey, it goes where it goes. You know, I owe my audience something interesting, even if it's only vaguely interesting. Even if I can only manage something that's only, you know, not every day is going to be like I got shot at, you know, but I'm of course going to run over some tired ground and run over some of the same stuff. But I got to give them something. You got to give people something new if they're going to hang around. And I only got like what 20 regulars. So you know, for you 20 regulars, there you got something new. And yeah, I'll check in tomorrow, and I'm definitely going to wash these glasses with some alcohol and wash my face and stuff. And anyways, I'll put them back on so I can see what I'm doing, and I will see you tomorrow. Goodbye.